Hey guys, Sam here, and welcome to another review. And yes, I have seen the new episode thanks to them. So why am I not reviewing that in this video? Well, there's a few reasons. One is that there would be a lot to talk about, and I just did a video which was over 30 minutes long. And was hell to edit, by the way. Link is in the description if you're curious. So I need to make a simpler video after making a big one. Two, I want to give you guys all my thoughts on the rest of Season 2 and Season 3 once the show is over. It's like what I did back in 2019 when I reviewed the last episodes of MLPG4. Think of it like that. And three, I wanted to still talk about something from the Owl House, but on an episode that's actually not that good, at least in my eyes. It's from Season 1, and it's called Once Upon a Swap. Why this one? Why don't I find this to be good? Well, let's get into it. And you know the drill, summary first, thoughts after, and a few fun facts and jokes at the end. Good, let's go. Basically, the story involves Luz, King, and Ida having a disagreement with each other. When each of them starts talking about how difficult their lives are, Luz being a teenager, King being babied, and Ida being a wanted fugitive, and that they each have it worse, they decide to settle who's really got the worst life by doing a body swap. So Luz ends up in Ida's body, Ida ends up in King's body, and King ends up in Luz's body. The plan is to go through an entire day like this, and whoever admits to having the easier time by the end of the day gets out of house cleaning duty, which also means cleaning Hootie. This means that the episode is split up into three separate stories: Ida's catastrophe, King's brush with death, and Luz's deals and heals. So how does each story play out? Well, it's mostly the same way. Each of them starts off having things seemingly go right for them, like Ida being cared for by two grannies, King causing teenage chaos with Bosch's friends, which makes her jealous, and Luz making a fortune at Ida's stand thanks to her new magical abilities, only to have those supposed good things blow up in their faces. Ida finds out the grannies are evil and turn every other small creature they take in their store into brainless babies. King gets involved in a dangerous race with Basha, which ends with him destroying Basha in her friend's clubhouse and getting chased afterwards. And Luz's exploits as Ida gets her arrested by the Emperor's Coven and interrogated by Ida's sister, Lilith. Ida tries to escape the grannies, but to no avail. King tries to run away from the teens, only to end up in the evil granny store with Ida, and what's worse is that they hate teenagers. Yeah, they're those old ladies. And Luz has to make a haphazard escape from Lilith and her guards. In the end, all of them bump back into each other and admit that each of their lives aren't exactly that simple. So they get themselves back into their correct bodies. Lilith uses the body swap spell on the grannies, the teens, Lilith, and her guards to escape with Luz and King, and they all go home promising to never speak of this again. And the episode ends with them figuring out who's actually gonna clean the house and Hootie. King and Ida say, "Not it," and Luz gets stuck with the unfortunate job. The end. So that's the episode. What are my thoughts? Well, let me make something very clear. I don't hate this episode. In fact, this episode does have good things in it. The animation is still good, the voice acting is great, the dialogue is well written, there are some funny lines, and there are some humorous moments.
Well, I don't know if you realized, but I'm not a baby!
Then why are you screaming like one?
My life is a living nightmare!
I love a good body swap. It's like demonic possession with the ones you love. I failed you, Bowtie. My closest ally.
Meow. Meow.
Lady, I just want my body back!
You can have it. Your life is pretty terrible. But hey, it'll probably be over soon.
The funniest moment has to be when King, in Luz's body, pranks everyone in the Boiling Isles by calling Hootie, putting the bird phone against a loudspeaker, and just letting Hootie talk and talk, which drives the entire town crazy. That was pretty funny. Each of the stories do have their standout moments, and they aren't that bad. But that leads to my problems with the episode. It isn't that bad, but it's not great either. While each story does have some good moments sprinkled here and there, the story beats do get old with each one. Each of them has trouble getting used to their new bodies, things start to perk up, each of them thinks they're gonna win the bet, but then, whoops! Everything goes off the rails, and they try to escape the mess they got themselves into. Rinse and repeat that formula 3 times. I'm not saying they were done horribly, but they were just too predictable, and even the stuff they do within each story has not only been done before, but it wasn't done that great. 2 seemingly nice grannies who turn out to be evil? Yeah, I've already seen that. A big race between 2 teenagers to prove who's cool and who's a loser. Seen it already. A kid in an adult's body becoming a hit with the public? Seen it. And just because they have the Owl House touch, like one granny with sharp teeth and rat worms, doesn't mean it's entirely original. It's basically just the Freaky Friday formula, but with Owl House. Hell, the episode even makes a reference to it. Am I saying that doing a version of that formula is bad? No, of course not. It can be fine if you give us something fresh and make us want to watch it again and again. And for me, it didn't do that. The only thing about this episode that has any importance to the overall plot is when Lilith is interrogating Ida. We find out from Lilith that she and Ida were planning to go into the Emperor's Coven together when they were kids, but obviously that didn't work out. Luz can't convince Lilith that she's really not Ida, and she almost gets branded by the Coven only to escape. And that's it. Everything else is just filler. Now, I have said before that filler episodes can be fine if it is done well. And hell, I reviewed the show's Sporty episode last year, and I found it to be good. Is that a filler episode too? In some respects, yes, but it did have more than that. It introduced us to Grudgeby, gave Luz and Amity's budding romance more development, gave Luz and Amity's friendship with Gus and Willow more development, gave Ida and Lilith's sister relationship more development, and added tension for what would come after. And again, the Freaky Friday formula can be done well too. Fairly Odd Parents did that in the episode Manic Mom Day, and that one, Timmy and his mother switch places for a day, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. But I found that to be not only more relatable for kids and adults, but also funnier. I mean, this episode showed us that Francis, the bully, wants to be an interpretive dancer, and we do get to see him dance with Timmy and the other students. That's just hilarious, even if you have no idea what the show's about. It wasn't a super duper great episode either, but it did come up with more outside the box material and has some replay value. Once Upon a Swab just doesn't have that in my eyes. And that's surprising to me. I just said that a season 7 Fairly Odd Parents episode is better than an episode from the Owl House. But there it is. I also have a few more nitpicks with the episode. Like, why couldn't anybody tell that Luz, King, and Ida sounded and looked differently than before? I mean, I guess with the grannies and Lilith, I can sort of get. The grannies had never seen King before, and maybe Luz's eyes and voice just weren't noticeable enough to Lilith. I mean, she was more focused on talking about the Emperor's Coven and all that jazz. But look at King's eyes on Luz's body. They stick out like a sore thumb. And Basha and her friends just interacted with Luz at the beginning of the episode. How could they not tell something was up? If the eyes couldn't give it away, surely the voice and King crawling around in Luz's body would have. I mean, I know they're bullies, but not all bullies are dumb. That's the unfortunate thing. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe the spell was so good that everyone actually heard the voices that would come out of them. Like, maybe Lilith was still hearing Ida's voice even though it was actually Luz, and maybe Basha and company still heard Luz's voice instead of King's. But it's never made clear that it was happening. Hell, another Fairly Odd Parents episode did this better in the episode Dog's Day Afternoon. Now that I think about it, Manic Mom Day did kind of repeat that episode's plot, but I digress. In that one, Timmy gets himself in a dog's body. While we, the audience, can still understand what he's saying, everyone else, like Cosmo, can only hear him barking. That made it easier for us to understand why Timmy couldn't talk his way out of his messy situation. We never get that clarification in Once Upon a Swap, so it just makes things more confusing. Then there's Luz disregarding Ida's warning from the start of the episode. At the beginning, she tries to make a sign for Ida to stand. It's cute and nice for her to do that, but there's one problem. Ida is a wanted woman who's worth a lot of money. It's best for her to keep a low profile. She tells Luz this. And yet, Luz doesn't take it that seriously. So, when she becomes Ida and starts doing business at Ida Stand, she makes this big-ass sign. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a really cool sign, but again, just like with King's eyes on Luz's body, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Everybody's gonna notice that, and that's what gets her caught. I get that Luz isn't perfect and is prone to making mistakes, but she's not that stupid. It would be like walking into Fenway Park in Boston, wearing all Yankees gear and shouting, "Big Papi can suck my dick!" If I did that, I'd probably get killed. Also, as far as I know, the body swap spell has never been used in another Owl House episode again. I guess when the trio said that they'll never talk about it again, it also meant that they would never use that spell again. I mean, I get it, it can be dangerous, but it is a part of the show's lore now, so it might get some disgruntled fans to go, wait, why couldn't they use it here or there in this episode? It made things much more easier for Ida. Plot hole. Yeah, like we need more of that. Okay, that's it. Those are all my issues with the episode. And again, to clarify one more time, I do not hate this episode. It does have some good and funny stuff in it. And I did find it to be a little better when I watched it a second time, and if you like the episode, that's great. Don't worry about my pesky opinion on it. In conclusion, it's just slightly above average for me. But obviously, the Owl House is more than just slightly above average to me. When you think of Owl House Does Freaky Friday, you would expect it to be absolutely funny and creative. And while it does have some funny stuff and a little bit of creativity, it just wasn't enough for me. To me, it was just a little too standard, and it's an episode that I'm not going to be watching again and again. Not bad, but not great. So the final score I'll give to Once Upon a Swap is a 5.5 out of 10. It was going to be a 5 at first, but the bits of comedy, dialogue, and some little bits of creativity did make it, bump up just by half a point. Like I said, slightly above average. Okay, now we'll get to a few fun facts, other than the fact that it was a love letter to Freaky Friday. Again, kinda cool, but not great. 1. This wouldn't be the only time the Owl House had Luce, King, and Ida have different segments. The next time it happened was in the episode Knock Knock Knockin' on Hootie's Door. And yes, I love that episode. Number 2, there's an egg shop in the Boiling Isles that has a newspaper with the headline, Giraffe Sighting Stokes Panic. Well, if the giraffes they've seen do look like this, I can understand why they'd be frightened. Number 3, the place where Basha and Luz have their race is at Dead Man's Curve. That's actually the name of a song by the rock duo Jan and Dean.
But I'll throw you one better if you've got the nerve. Let's race all the way to Dead Man's Curve. Dead Man's Curve.
Number 4, according to Ida's mugshot, she's 7 foot and 6 inches tall. This is when she's wearing heels too. And number 5, we find out that Hootie is 20% mucus. And the less we think about that, the better. Alright, now here's a few jokes.
You couldn't afford me, sister. Aww. That's the incorrect reaction!
Hey, that's probably what Alex Jones said a lot when people meme the shit out of him. Go out and build a civilization! Be honorable! Crush the snakes under your feet! Get behind me, Satan! Hey, that's the incorrect reaction! I'm trying to spread the truth! Here, let me tell you again that Sandy Hook was a hoax! Yeah, shut up! You can't do anything to me! What are you gonna do? Take me to court and make me pay about $1 billion for lying? Oh, shit.
How do I look? I've got some very confusing emotions right now.
Said every creepy Rule 34 artist in existence. Has that... never mind, I'm not gonna ask.
And stretch, stretch, stretch.
How does Ida wear these all day?
Here's a better question. How does any woman wear heels all day? Well, at least those shoes have better support than these shoes. Good lord, it's like you want to fuck up your feet and fall all the time.
Oh, look, Dottie, it's not kidnapping if they entered our store. Just think of it as good customer service.
Wow, that's the same crappy excuse husbands give when they rape their wives. Hey, it's not rape if we're married. Think of it as spicy roleplay. It feels real, but it really isn't. Oh, and if you thought that joke was fucked up, here's my last one.
Guys, today's my monthly cleaning, Hoot Hoot! I'm 20% mucus, but don't let that stop you! Come on, I have so many hard-to-reach spots that need swabbing!
Hootie, I love you, but I'd rather jam my eye into a table again rather than clean you. Oh yeah, the eye in the table thing? That happened to me when I was a baby. I jammed the corner of my eye into the corner of a table. Bam! Blood came out, I was sent to the hospital, and the doctors had to use surgical glue to close the wound. Here's the scar. What else can I say but I'm a very, very lucky boy. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, tell me what you thought of this video and this episode in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, my name is Sam, and mwah, good night everybody.